Well, welcome everybody to if you're on Zoom from the Goal Academy High School headquarters in Pueblo, Colorado. And internal communications and radio, television, everything, social media. Really talented people on our team. So I also have a historical reference of the school and also this position for me is kind of coming back to my state. We have 37 locations in Colorado. We serve right around 5,700 students this year, and we have just over five. A lot of communication that goes out internally and externally. Our mission or our mantra as a team is to our job to make sure they know about us, right? Like all life and but Justin's work is primarily things or putting signs up on buildings or creating billboards or working with our we're off camera getting, so if you want to come over here, you can smile into the camera for those out there. Coordinators, he's our journalist extraordinaire.
School for 5 years is like 30. Word out there about Goal. Alternative to students who aren't able to make it work in the brick and mortar for whatever reason. And said 5,700 students have taken us up on it this year. But more importantly, there's about 50,000 more disconnected students in the state of Colorado, the age of 16 to 20, going to school and aren't going to work. So that's our mission, is to
Let them know.
help them to become productive members of society.
Live remote with the radio, and there's a Q&A between the DJ and our staff and our student. He's the one that's helping create that script. He's also the one that writes all the articles that go into the newspaper. He's also kind of he's an English teacher, so we let him prove everything. So that's Gunny. And then we have two digital media.
I went to PCT. Worked in professional settings and studios. Video business for about 4 of those years, and I've been with Goal now for about 3. So I've done everything. Directing, theater production, post-production, live streaming, and has anything to do with video at all, I can probably.
Collaborate as a team quite a bit, but I just Nice ability to get a message out in 30 seconds is a really, really incredible skill. And if I can, I'll share with you. Recently, he took an hour-long interview with students and trimmed it down to what was the short version of the video?
Without the grad piece.
7 minutes. And it's an inspiring video and it kind of highlights what we do here at Gold. So when I send that out, I want you to understand.
Working years also with PCC. I probably specialize more in the 3D realms. I do a lot of 3D rendering and animation as well for a lot of stuff. And then the filming with the cameras, I get really into that. So, but yeah, me and Michael, we being the two digital media specialists here, we're kind of like streaming, making commercials, making social media content. If they need a video, it's our job to figure out.
Say, if you go to our website and look at our strategic. Yeah, Mark actually. That are in need of our services, and so we have a visitor today, and that's Scott by Design. Scott, you want to introduce yourself?
By Design. I do website development, videography, photography, and then I do have a component for social media and SEO.
As I mentioned, we do work with nonprofits, and we have had for-profits come to. So as we go over some things today, if you at any point feel like, whoa, that's like tech. That you can turn to and invest. So with that, I guess what I'd like to do is learn a little bit more. And I don't, do we have some? Just in here, good.
And a little bit, sorry, I forgot to, one of my intern is here today.
Lindy Zerker. Yeah. Come on over, Lindy.
Editing and videography, and I've been working here at Google for
working with Gunny. Well, he's in Parachute, Colorado, so he works remotely with us and has turned out how many articles this year?
30 plus.
Yeah. All over the state, different newspapers. And then we have another intern who's not here, Victoria. She's been working with Justin doing the graphic design and social media management as well. So yeah, we are happy to have our interns for the rest of the semester. Getting talent going into the community here pretty soon, as well as Victoria, who's also graduating. And Well, she's in the Ascent program, so she is technically a graduate, but she's also in communications, mass comm, and then we have a grad. Almost a full year here with, if you're looking to, bring someone on business for a side job or maybe as permanent employment, we love to recommend them. In fact, I have here because you want to be able to create versus you want to be able to create a video for like, so if it's social media, can we get a show of hands? Anybody here TV commercial? Maybe, okay, maybe, okay. So I'm gonna hand this off to Mark. And he can talk a little bit about, Mark and Mike and Wendy can talk a little bit about,
Mac or PC users. So we're Mac first.
so I tried to pull up some examples of iMovie, editing software. You guys want to talk a little bit about?
So really, there's a ton of options for this program. For me, so probably the simplest one, especially if you have a Mac, is like. Yeah. That's a good place to start if you're just looking for simple editing. And kind of I think they still have budget. Because it's, for what I do, it's not enough. Say, iMovie is a good place to start if you really don't have any experience and you don't want to worry a whole ton about codecs and like what you filmed at, all the stuff I think about.
There's your prices if you're gonna buy it, but they do have a free trial on it, which is always nice. It's very, very simple, like, iMovie, very, very simple. And my personal. Came to these guys and I said, what would you do? They said, well, you could get DaVinci Resolve from Blackmagic Design. Well, this is what that looks like. Okay. And I downloaded it and I watching YouTube tutorials, just trying to get my footage into it. It's free. It is free, but it is, it's what professionals use. Scott, you use this as well, DaVinci Resolve? No? Okay.
Premiere Pro.
Premiere Pro, okay.
Same level.
But you can see that, all these different soundtracks and you've got a different overlays and, it's very different than iMovie.
There's also.
Yeah,
Is
but
an
that-
evolved version of iMovie? It's easier. They made it more user friendly.
So, as you can see, there's a ton of it. The nice part is every single one we've shown you is essentially free. So you can I just encourage you, try it, just download it and just try it, because there's no harm if you open it, you're like, oh, no, this one's too much, then you move on to the next. Websites, some stock websites have video editors built into them. Some stock assets are fine, but you can't really tell the story of your business with somebody else's footage. So I generally steer away from that. But the editing program is just one of the tools, and I always tell people this: I cannot watch a video and tell you what program it is. There's no way to know. Like a good video. So the first part of the step though is filming, and that's the interesting part now. Phones have gotten a lot better for social media content.
Okay, what kind of camera did you get?
It's a Canon EOS R5.
Okay,
Large format, it's good for
Okay.
video.
video,
Yeah.
okay.
And I would say, as good as phones have gotten, I still think standalone cameras beat them. Just if not in a shot for shot, like if I'm just shooting a wide shot, phone camera might be close, but the amount of creative decisions you can make with the real camera versus limited. Although that's slowly going away as they put more.
What we just purchased is, so phones are awesome, their video quality is great, but the audio has. They do sell, iPhone is iPhone, they got. If you can get good audio and, use good video quality of the phone, you'll.
This is, what did we spend, 230?
240.
240?
And they have a cheaper version too.
They do.
That's just a little smaller.
Sennheiser,
Sennheiser.
MKE.
So the one detriment to the phone recording is the microphone. It's a conference mic like we're using today for the Zoom call. This is a directional mic, and it even came with a windsock, so if you're outside and it'll reduce that.
I would say, matters a lot. Like, and even so, I will watch a video with terrible quality and fantastic audio much longer than I'm gonna watch a video that looks amazing and sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Cause it's just, so I actually put audio above video. So which is why with the phone, and that's just one of many, there phone microphone. There's a ton, there's even some that do the clip-on like lapel mics, so you really isolate your speaker and
I was at Fox Camera, is it Fox Camera in the Springs? I don't know, it's the big camera shop, Mike's. And you can buy a vlogger kit that comes with a shot. Selfie stick that turns into a tripod. And so depending on the kind of video that you want to make, increasing your composition is kind of not really trial and error. I think it's more finding what appeases you. Also, what is, when you're thinking about your customer, what message you and to do it in a short. 30 seconds is a long time for someone to watch it.
You can tell how long they watched it, where they stopped watching it.
Yeah.
It's just a calendar and you just upload the material. It even suggests times to you that Facebook has the most traffic.
Yeah,
So-
I think it even
Right.
and it'll tell you, oh, Monday.
um. Is the story you're telling and what you're doing. Because you can tell an amazing story with a 4-year-old phone and the on-camera mic. Or you could show something really cool. So, you know, and Michael done a lot of script writing for small businesses and like just the planning stage of what you're gonna film is more important than anything. Because you can $1,000 worth of video gear and a port plan and come out with a terrible video. Happens all the time. It's like movies get made that are terrible. Millions of dollars is spent, something terrible is made. So it's whether it's the script, the planning, like there's so many elements to go about that. So if you want to kind of talk about your process for when you're planning a video.
Yeah, so. It really depends on what you're trying to advertise. I think almost like. Oh, when we said social media, you mind if I ask if someone would volunteer and tell me what their business is or what?
Top accessories.
Okay.
Get the word out about it.
Okay, gotcha, yeah, so. Going back to the top of social media, what's really important is consistency. Posting regularly helps people, expect it and. Something that's, posting anything at all is better than nothing at all, even. Traffic. As far as the script writing goes, if you have a product. It's hard, so like I would do commercials for content. So what they would do is they'd come to me and ask me to. Like, this is what we want, we need more customers. Rewards program, so I would usually write a creative script and direct towards that. Like he said, if you don't have a great plan in place.
I think it's a really important anchor point. We out in those videos, we were trying to create that script and that
Them to leave after watching. It can be, the shorter the better.
stick with them, or you're creating a hook that's gonna have them watch the last 20, right?
Well, like watch like too, when you're posting to platforms, really pay attention to like that. I'll have it. Facebook breaks it down, it'll even tell you how many 3-second views you have, how many 5-second views you have, how many 10-second views you have, so you can kind of start to figure out like, oh, like, I really like these videos, but nobody watches them, but, you know, this video got a ton of traction, so you kind of have to really to your audience and see what they're watching, what they're not watching, kind of cater. It'll help you kind of steer yourself and sometimes you start posting stuff and like nobody's watching it. But sometimes it's just finding the correct content is important too. And then what your audience is gonna like really click on and like watch and finish it. So I'd say really check those stats because that's honestly that, I would say this 50% of our decision on our creatives.
Right.
Because
Even a thumbnail can change your video's efficiency 1000%. So a lot of algorithms now, like even on YouTube. That's the first draw. You know, what's the first thing?
So if you're thinking about producing on TikTok versus Facebook, Instagram, Reels, Snapchat stories, things like that, their audio. When people are using something like the audio is always on. So on Facebook, I personally, I go out. Only because you know how irritating it is when you come up on a video. I may capture your video on mute, so. TikTok, you almost are better off using a trending picks for you, and you can still slide and adjust that volume down and your volume up, because I know the algorithm picks that music.
point and, you know, and you also think, now it's like if somebody's hard of hearing and they're watching your ad and it's all audio based, they're probably not gonna get your message. So it's good to have some text screen as well that says, you know, your quick pitch point. Watched only 3 seconds, but I read the thing, I was like, oh, that's cool, I'll go check it out later. Read it and I thought about it, but had that not been there for me to read it.
Earlier, I saw one of my commercials at the sports bar, and I'm like, well, no one can hear it. So
It's just moving images. And
Yeah. you have to have the visuals that tell a story.
And it's also important to think about audience, because Facebook has a different audience than TikTok. I mean, there's definitely some crossover, but you know, who are you really aiming at? So just choosing which social media platform. And sometimes it's multiples, sometimes the hard part, fun part for me is, and it drives me insane now, is they're all different sizes and shapes now, because like, it's all vertical videos, right? Instagram is more square, YouTube 16:9, just like my TVs. You're better, to me, you know, your platform to some extent, but it's going to exist more on others. But that's once again, if you want to start out, post on all of them, and if you're like, look, nobody watches my TikTok stuff, right? But my Instagram is just blowing up. Yeah. I would say focus on it. So like I said, the stats of the videos is.
You know, I think as you're creating content in those different platforms, there's different certainly wouldn't take some of the TikTok trends that we've done and put them on Facebook, because Facebook is an older demographic. Is you're creating an interesting if you're in Meta, I say go to the where you think your demographic is, right? My demographic is moms and dads. A lot of I live in Pueblo West, or if you're from Lamar, you know, and I can go there and I can see what that getting more activity and likes and things like that. What is the storyline that they're actually going to stop and watch it? So, profile and your brand and everywhere that you can pop. Profile picture for your social media. You should have your logo. And if you don't have a logo, you should pay a professional to make, like Scott, you should pay someone, a graphic designer, to build that for you, because they can consult with you and create something that is and not one of these $50 cookie cutter logo companies you can. The other thing that's coming out and more is visual search. And a brand card, if you don't have one already, a brand card identifies your fonts, it identifies your hexadecimal RGB colors, so that anytime you're having shirt made or you're having work made, you can hand off those colors and those fonts to the professionals, and they can do that for you. A Canva account, and how many Canva users? Dana, you can go into your color selector. Always comes to your background of your newsletter will always be your logo, right? So paying a professional for a logo, editing the video for your social media, you then have the opportunity to do what's called a graphic overlay, right? Where you can have like a banner across the bottom, right? Have that graphic designer create those for you in the form. Instagram, because like you said, it's square. You can't use it on TikTok because it's a portrait, up and down, right? Pay a professional and get a nice little bundle of things that you can use over and over. And have that mission and vision.
Basics of the Da Vinci.
Da Vinci Resolve.
Yeah. Maybe like demonstrate, I don't know, small. These
So
show
Mark
us how
did
complicated
a
it is.
class recently. Art Alliance. Sandy, you were there. Yeah. And Mark said this earlier, and I'm just gonna repeat it because if Mark could spend an hour with someone and said, what can you say about that?
I mean, I could show it real quick just so you can see the level. Even if it's enough to make you touch that, then that's learning something.
Yeah.
About,
You wanna talk
So-
about iMovie while I do?
well, no, just about editing in general. So I'm gonna tell you right now that learning this and effort and work, which is why some people try to forego paying it. If you, now some of these simpler products, like the ones we're showing you, you can learn with the. Oh, once you start to learn the editing process, all the programs. Will have your, what they call the timeline, which is like your canvas, where you can multi-layer your videos, you can. So jumping from one professional program to another isn't the biggest leap, so if you do put the time in, it's not hard to jump around, so. Starting at a simple program like iMovie is a good place to start, and soon things like DaVinci Resolve or the next. The more you know the tool, the easier it is to have a vision and to make it come. Why, if it's a really complex vision, it's good to look at the professionals because they. And there's another side to the coin too, of the sport. That's up on either side of it, they'll spend $0 on the product.
Is there anyone?
And then they'll spend 5,000 on getting it out there, and it's not a good product. Some people see it. So you really have to. Do when you're, that's why there's lots of people in packaging, like the kids company, for example, will probably. Painting a beautiful painting means nothing if nobody sees it, it's not in front of the right people.
As Mark's getting this tooled up to show you DaVinci, I guess the question about the amount of time you're going to spend on this. If you take that. Burden is communicating with your is probably more. Said I spent 6 hours on a Saturday watching YouTube videos the first time.
Yeah,
I still watch hours of YouTube.
Yeah, there's
videos.
so many tutorials about that. Yeah.
And the interesting part about media and video too, is there's no right or wrong way. The way I do things and what I say is the best way to do it, I promise you there's somebody out there who's like, no. This way's way better. And they make good stuff too, so they're not wrong. Nope. When you get into creative, so much subjectivity, like, what's the best way to do it? What's the best frame rate? Filming that, it's all over the board. But this would be what I would consider a professional grade editing program. It lands with the Premiere Pro, Final Cut Pro, and Resolve. So those are, I'd call it the big three. If someone's doing video, they're using one of those three for a living.
Can I ask a question?
Mhm.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Right, you have to look. It is an investment when you're looking at that. Professional, you will absolutely get that money back.
And it should be drafted and scripted to be evergreen, right?
Yeah.
If you're gonna have a one-time special on something, with
And
Yeah.
and I would say. I'll hire a professional every time, because that's not. That you might be looking to put into something like this, just so you don't sink a bunch of time into it or money, and then you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm in over my head. You spent all this money, and if you just spent that money, with. Right, or the wrong way,
The logo
Mhm.
and do my business cards and.
Yeah.
But I don't know, what, I mean, how much could you pay to get? I don't know, maybe. Or a week's worth of media help.
So I can say that, doing commercials, I would charge about 500 to produce a 30 spot, but most of them would be, we use the term evergreen, meaning that they use these commercials for years and it was effective for years. Right. But yeah, but I would
You can also get with TV.
benefit from,
Right.
So I like to think of it too, that's different medium. On television, there is a level set where people are watching TV, like they expect a level of quality that you're expecting. Cell phone still in selfie mode, which is fine. And or even Instagram content, so it's also,
the Latino Chamber did, you guys still do the algorithm? Yeah, that was, very effective. They just do a newsletter, I think, once a week, right? And it's a.
Climate fives.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a great.
Super dynamic, you can put links in it that when someone clicks on the link in your newsletter, it adds them to a new contact group, right? So you're like, if you're interested in learning about video, then you've got a group of people that or whatever it is.
and another thing I think to think about too, when, if like I said, it's if you should hire a professional, not. It's also your audience size, which by making your own videos, you gotta get your audience started, because if you have watching your videos, you pay someone $1,000 to make a video for those 20 people. But if you keep going and then, you're getting following, people are sharing your stuff, and you're getting a huge net, then now it's sense to do something really high quality because I have the view count, people are. Like that didn't do them any good. So for a smaller business like yourself, because you're just trying to start, right? Built into it. So like if you're living on TikTok, does Instagram run a simple editor? 20-second video, just plan it out to do in one shot, because then you really don't need in, out, post. I mean, I guess if you want to add your logo.
If you want to do a graphic overlay, you're gonna need something, and I've not played in Canva, which is, I think Canva is a TechSmith product. It's more
I don't
for
think
still
that's a video.
making posters and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you want to show?
So this is the DaVinci Resolve. I'll just fly through it. This is not meant to, you know, have you open it and then know every button to click.
It's DaVinci.
Talking while this has been up there, I just downloaded DaVinci Resolve on this.
So when you first open a project, you see this screen. This is where I'm bringing my media in.
So that's just a file directory of this computer.
Open it. So this was the media you imported from your camera or device. You could, you know, just scrub it, check it. The real tab where things happen is the editing tab. So if I double click a piece of footage, I'm able to watch it up here. Kind of
It's like a preview.
decide I could do, it's called in and out points. I'm choosing which piece of the clip I want to use. And if I'm watching down there, I'm watching my timeline. Cameras that they require professional grade. Your higher end computers like the $400 laptop from Walmart, you're not gonna, I mean, you could probably do it, but you're not. Even this MacBook Air, which is one of the newer ones, can kind of chug along sometimes.
And
Just because they're trying to put them on the cloud, they're trying to fit a ton of space for your photos and videos, like the cameras we film with make ridiculously large files, like just huge compared to a phone. But that's only something, you know, I might need. It clips down to the timeline and adjust them down there if that's more, you know, your style. No, that's a still.
Yeah,
How long do you think it took you? And you were here a couple days each week,
yeah,
just kind of messing around.
Also, the thing to remember too is like, we have to make videos faster because we have to make 28, well, not 20, well, some weeks it feels like. So, you know, we spend more time getting proficient, and the thing is with social media too, if that's really what you're aiming for, they're gonna be short, so you can really plan your videos. You almost have to like have your equipment, know your limitations, and just plan to work within those limitations. Because the second you try and leave those limitations is when, like, you know, the time balloons where now you're spending 8 hours to make a video and, you know, had you just done it simple and kept it within what you can work with, done it in an hour or even less. Like I said, some kind of wrap back around to like the pre-production, what we call it, and the planning, and just going in with an idea of what. If you're just trying to get a product shot, spend your time arranging it. Going into how you arrange it, where you're taking it at, like where you're shooting the video. Going to bigger difference than that, because I could give some and that knows nothing, and I could give a Hollywood cinematographer an iPhone, and I promise you that person would just wipe the floor with the iPhone versus their $1 million camera, but it's not the camera. Do
But composition is really, really.
composition is king. That's where you go to export your masterpiece once you're done with it. But Resolve has a free version for simple editing. There's probably nothing it can't do. They have their paid version is $2.99. versus Creative Cloud is how much a month right now? 95 rating?
But that gives you access to, if you want to delve into Photoshop, Illustrator.
It's a lot of programs, but that's 800. Versus if you have a Mac and iMovie, go for. Just get started. It's probably, if you wait, if you're like, well, I need to get all these pieces together before I can even. As long as you have a smartphone, you at least have the first step to at least get started and start moving. Like I said, growing out, and then like if you get a huge audience of making your phone video. Or what you need to bring it up to the level. That's more of a, I'll call it a professional level setup. I mean, like an R5 is a very nice camera, like that camera can. I'll even same thing with editing for the most part. I can't tell you what camera. Like, not like, oh, clearly that was shot on a Nikon. In phone stuff where I've been like, oh, that's a phone. Wow.
Oh, gimbals for phones, like.
Yeah.
that,
Yeah. Service associated with the purchase and they're very durable and the microphone.
Well, the mic might not matter if you're shooting a. Or, when you dive into the world of video production. Tunnels and 100 ways to go, and it's like any skill. Just if you want to put the time into learning it, it's learnable and it's more accessible than it's ever been. I think it used to be, nobody, but the flip phone camera was the best everybody had in their pocket. What were you gonna make with that compared to a real camera? That's not true anymore. Like there's options and ways to go, I think.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, there are some good short tutorials I've seen on TikTok and YouTube about how to use on your smartphone. So like how many of you are here? I don't know. I don't know. On the Android, you can just do a regular video, but then you can go to, and you have all of these adjustments that you can put in there. Creamy. But there are definitely some tutorials out there where you can look up, how do I adjust the lighting when I'm making a video on my app? Or to do, there's some really interesting tricks. I've seen some like pumpkins. They went in and they changed the saturation, brightened the pumpkins right up, and still kept that kind of like fall. There's tutorials out there.
Well, also learn by doing. Also, I think sometimes it's easy to get caught up in the this one's not coming out perfect how I wanted it. You get frustrated and whatever, I'll do it tomorrow. But post it and then learn the lessons from that one and then apply it to the next, because some people get too caught up and this one isn't exactly perfect. There's things I don't like about it. I'm just not going to post it. Now, of course, you don't ever want to post if it's a terrible video. I mean, something like maybe give. But there's every video I've ever finished. There's been stuff. You made it, so you know. How could anybody not understand what you're trying to say in this? All the time, even so, watching oh well, what was the message? It's like I guess it wasn't super clear. So sharing your content, having people watch it, that's helpful.
I think, one of the biggest tips, if you could leave with. Is don't make it too long. The shorter, the better. The more precise, the better.
And it's so easy when you're filming to feel like, oh, that must have been, like, the amount of times I filmed, people like, oh, like, how long was that, like a minute? And you're like, no, that. So, yeah,
But yeah, like having a script written or just key points of what you wanna highlight really does help.
And again, if you're using the meta tool, know that you can choose. You're gonna devote that time to make. Um,
Background noise, do like a voice overlay for push.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, like, if even. In most editing softwares, even on your phone, I think you can just mute the audio. So, yeah, that really does.
Yeah, I'd say I throw away a good 90, depending on the shoot. When I shoot B-roll, which is running around with the camera, just getting whatever shots that happen, I don't even put a mic on the camera. I don't. So. So, but yeah, I'd say iMovie. All the way up to these have ways to knock out the room, the. Slap on audio later.
Any other questions? Yeah. Yeah, so what would you say, you talked about, obviously keeping it short, simple, if you're doing basic, video editing, you talked about how you filmed an hour-long video and you cut it down to, what, like 7 minutes or something? What would you say?
So it's just kind of a long. What we do is you make a cut. Then I watched it through again and I was like, the meat of the story is still there. You kind of like slowly shave off pieces. So you take it from 45 to 35 to 30 to 20, and you'll get to 20 and you'll be like, ah. But
You have to have an anchor point
Yeah,
too,
you-
like your main message as you're making. Did they say that twice?
yeah,
If they said it twice, did they say it better here?
and that is such an important piece because when you because then it feels like when I and then you could always offer the full story,
Yeah, we've had great
because
success with some. of
you
our-
want to hook. They go for the full story, please go to OIC.org.
Well, it's also, I'd even say too, with time, for the most part, shorter is better. But knowing the content, place you're going to, because YouTube tends to have a lot of very long videos. So like a 10-second YouTube video would probably not be a very good YouTube video to watch your video, probably longer. So.
That's true. Keeping your target platform in mind is huge.
But if you wanted to take a longer form, how to use your journal supplies and you wanted to give people ideas, that could be a 3 or 4 minute video because you're actually saying, hey, this is my product, let me show you how to use it.
I say something we tell each other sometimes when we're. How long does this need to be? I'll tell her, just. You don't wanna limit it, so,
There's always somebody else,
Yeah.
never the person who made it.
Yeah, you become,
You put time into that, so sharing before you post as a friend, hey, watch this real quick. Well, what do you think?
and there's a lot of information out there about. They have a whole host of information about how to get a business account going, how to become monetized, how to boost your ads. And so their ad content, reading
Facebook has easy ways to boost your posts and spend small amounts of money.
it, like $5. And Meta will let you do the A/B test, just like you. Set it up to A/B test different,
The, probably the last thing I'll kind of say, just like last wrap up thought for me is, you know. And it's hard to say, like, when do you go the DIY route, do it myself, and when do I hire some? It's like when you own a business, it's like anything. If I owned a building, like, yes, I could fix it, like, but it's gonna take me time. Probably not gonna do as longer exists because I would not trust myself to touch electrical. But it's all things to think about, and it never hurts, like I said, Scott gives free quotes. Or not consultations, that's the word I would. So it's always something to keep in mind, because time is money too. If you're, I've worked with people who got social media too, mind you, where they came to me and were like, yeah, I just bought a bunch of stuff and I thought it was just click, drag, drop, and I'm sitting in my basement at 10 o'clock at night, mad at my computer. It's like, I should have just, gone to you to begin with. But I don't think there's any harm though in trying it yourself first. Because I mean, especially if you're in a smaller business, every dollar is precious, right? It's not like there's, an unlimited amount of money to spend on everything. But a professional will more than likely get you a better, should if they don't. Another thing to keep on professional too is they keep an eye on all this stuff. So like we make YouTube videos, we make TikTok videos, we make it. They're also going to have some insight into what's going to work really well because they made videos in a certain way that like just didn't work well. So it's just something to consider, as you look into it. But I would say, as Michael said, no video is not good. So definitely start.
Yeah.
No matter what. If you can't afford, you can't afford to have somebody, and you're looking at all these toys and you're thinking, I can't afford that. Just
Has even one video on their website. Google has a score ranking system.
Yeah.
So having anything is better than nothing.
Yeah, just get a video, get pictures, get lots of. All text on your images are really important. bots crawl it and they get better results. So, yeah, also Google My Business. And make sure that you're monitoring. Same thing with social media, allow messaging to come through, then monitor. Yeah, that's one of the features, and you'll see it as you Google, it says usually responds within. So we have 37 locations where allowed, you essentially can upload a spreadsheet with all the different hours of operation, your address, the image of your product if you don't have a storefront. Obviously, it's going to link to your web. That's an easy way to start. Oh, sorry, Sandy. Also, Google My Business doesn't work with Bing, so you basically do the same process. Browser, the Edge browser, I still go through Google, but
videos, like they've reviewed them on. To search the name of my business, and I found some videos with.
Well, you can always hit the share button on YouTube when you find those videos, or share them on your own social media.
Yeah.
And then you're still giving credit. Embed your video on my website, is that okay? Like,
you might even consider,
Actually, I think you
depending
might-
on how. And a big time YouTuber, tell them you'll sponsor them with some free product for them to do. Yeah,
Would that be considered an ad?
yeah, the whole tagging of, product placement,
product placement, yeah.
they started doing that. One last thought, and this happens a lot when people are getting started, as tempting as it may be, do not go to Google and image search and just start grabbing a bunch of stuff. Mainly because A, that's copyright infringement. Now, if that's a song, we're taking you down, or you can. Talk websites, there's tons of stuff, there's more than I can. count.
Yeah, like YouTube.
Yeah, so I just, what are the odds of someone figuring it out? Pretty low, but it's just something to think about, but like I said, you're trying to tell your story of what you do, and random stuff from the internet is not you. So I would focus more on capturing your own stuff.
You're right. Oh, this is copyright music.
Well, that's something, but
Changing the input to the, this computer so I can show that QR code. Sure, that'd be great.
So affordability. For music, images, all of it,
I got it.
story blocks.
You got it?
Story blocks. Let me make sure I said that right. They have a ton of stuff on it and if you subscribe, it's unlimited.
Holiday.
30 bucks a month to get unlimited everything, but for 15 bucks a month, you can get 5 between footage, music and photos and stuff, so that could be fun. And it's like- that and pretty affordable, and they actually have a so maybe someone can let me know. It says they have a full access to Maker stock stuff there, which, guys, it's not always a bad thing to use stock. We use stock a lot. Like, I use it more for like, it's fall, I need some leaves, and I don't feel like. What am I gonna do? I'll go get some stock. Like that. Yeah, the story blocks is what it's.
Yeah, I mean, we put up Camtasia.
And a phone. There's gonna be a ton, and honestly, if you're making quick social media content, the round trip of, oh, I filled out my phone, I gotta get on my computer. You know, that's kind of a pain, I would even, just really dig around, see if you can find one that works on the phone. Yeah.
There's just, if you're looking for like tweet. Cool, what does this go to, guys?
So this is, so we can pretty much wrap up now, but this is just, if you get a chance, everyone, thank you for coming. If you could scan that QR. This program is helped put on by Community Navigator, powered by Chamber, which is what we're a part of, and second, we have it the first Friday of every month, the Brown Bag Series. And that QR code is a great resource. So if you're looking for other services that the Community Navigator can provide for you, that's. Yeah, thank you very much for Goal for hosting and having us here. This has been wonderful.
In the future, as well, just check in with us. Good times.
Is